So Darrin Baird right now from East Woodland Survival is making a birch bark knife sheath, and he's going to be teaching that while we're up here at the main school, and we're going to be cutting back and forth with this, so stick with us while we do this, and we'll show you everything on the instruction on how to make something for your knife with birch bark.
Moore's has been around for a long time, and he does a lot of Scandinavian boreal forest top survival. And we did a lot of the bushcraft aspect, using the birch bark and all these different things. And this is a really quick, easy thing to do. It only takes about 15-20 minutes to hook up a sheath like this. And you can kind of see how it goes. Look, and Mike was saying you guys had forged some blades last week or something, and I said, well, perfect, you know, for your knives. Something to put your knife in. There's just a couple of things you've got to kind of look at when you're doing birch bark. Birch bark will have a natural grain that runs around the tree, and if this is just a band, if you look, it'll have these little lines that run across it like this. You can see how the lines run. Now naturally this stuff, if you pull it, will tear this direction really easy, but it won't tear this other direction really easy. So when you're using these sheaths, it's very important that you're making sure this grain direction is running up and down, not side to side. Side to side, it's not going to last but 5 minutes probably. So you got to make sure your grain direction is in the right. Now, not only can you use this for a sheath for a knife, a lot of guys are using it as neck knives. You know, use a small knife with these sheaths. But also some of the guys are putting in scissors, any kind of small tool, even napping points, and using a blade, nap blade in these, which is really cool. This is actually, I thought it was Native American, but Moore said it's actually Scandinavian, this design. And so, I know they got a lot of birch on there. Right. The basic shape of what we're looking for, there's a kind of a general rule if you're looking at a normal knife, and that's a bushcraft black, which is, you know, a normal knife. A lot of people use Moras. That's a big knife. That's a knife. And a lot of people use the bushcraft or the Mora knives. So the general rule on those, this is going to be your width. You're looking at 18 inches length. So 1 3/4 wide. That was a little wider, it's probably 2 inches wide. 1 3/4 wide and 18 inches long. You're going to need 3 of these pieces, 18 inches in length. And so if you're looking at that, 1 3/4, you know, you're going to look at a piece about like this, about 18 inches long, which means a 6-inch diameter tree. And I don't know, have you gone over about harvesting birch bark and anything?
No, that'd be really good for these guys for the caretaker reasons.
When you're harvesting birch bark, you'll see a layer in birch. And these are different trees, different type tree, or different maturity of trees, you say. But some of these, if you look, birch has a really cool layer in it, and it can be peeled off very easily. Here, you guys just pass that around. Just try peeling some of it off. I mean, I don't know if you ever messed with birch bark or not, but the thing about birch is this is actually, if you peel it right and you know what you're doing, it doesn't hurt the tree. It makes it look a little funny for a few years, but it'll grow back.
The bark will go back?
Yeah, the bark will come back on it.
If you leave this layer on?
It actually layers itself. It'll layer the bark outward like that, and you can come back in and just peel off what you need, as long as you don't get into that cambium layer.
This layer we're talking about here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you get into this layer, which is about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little thinner. if you start really getting into the tree and cutting into it,
Yeah.
you're going to get into that cambium layer, and that will harm the tree. And, so the great thing about birch bark is you don't feel as guilty harvesting it because you're not really killing or hurting the tree. And it's still look a little funky for a few years before it grow back. We were harvesting trees that have been harvested for 20 and 30 years. We were talking about the Native Americans in that area, which were the Blackfeet tribe in that Alberta, Canada, where we're at. And they said that they would do for generations, start with small birch trees and really like clean all the limbs and everything off the lower branches. And they said for future generations, so our families and stuff will have nice birch bark to work with. So this was kind of a cultural thing. Birch bark was life. Containers, arrow sheaths, knife sheaths, you know, just all kinds of things. Containers mostly, and canoes. Housing, they made like a wigwam type thing, and these were the shingles. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff with this. But here, down there. Like I say, it's a sustainable thing, and it's still a good idea. I don't know, you guys might think I'm weird or something, but we always, when you harvest something naturally, whether it be an animal or a plant, or a tree, or even if you're not killing it, thank it. I mean, that sounds weird, but thank it. Be thankful it's there. Thank the tree. I know it sounds kind of oddball, but
Okay, not here.
Yeah, actually not really. Not at all.
In most venues, yes.
yeah.
For now, but that's changing.
Well, it is changing, and you know. Now here's a good sheet. This is a really good pliable sheet. You can feel that one really nice. I mean, it feels like leather. It really does feel like a sheet of leather.
So what's the harvesting technique to make sure that you don't...
When I'm harvesting, what I'll usually do is I'll take my tip and I'll choke up on the blade like this, and take my finger right against the tree like that, to where I'm not going in really deep, and just go make a line down. And when I start to peel, I flip my knife blade over, and I start working my knife around it like that, and then I can take my fingers and just start peeling that bark off. Mike was saying he uses a stick and kind of rolls that stick back in there. So I always just pull my fingers in there.
Does the cambium look different?
Yes,
So you can actually tell.
I have a piece of it here.
So you can go right to the cambium, and as long as you leave it intact, the tree will be fine?
If you go this deep, and we left this on for a purpose, you see how deep this is? That is the cambium layer.
Yeah, you can tell.
Now, we didn't take it all the way around. You know, we just took that little piece of cambium, and there's another piece here I wanted you to see. That way you know, don't go that deep. This is actually going to hurt the tree. It'll put a big scar on the tree, that will. It'll probably end up turning into chaga one day. So, you know, chaga will probably grow in that spot right there, because it's a damaged spot. Gotcha, you can see that.
So you can go up to that point, you're saying?
Yes. If you look, this is about, like I say, it's about an eighth of an inch.
So when you score in with your knife, you are scoring into the cambium.
You're trying not to really get into it.
Okay.
It's like I say, you're kind of limiting yourself. You know, and if I'm making this line, and I've got my knife blade at that angle, I'm going to use yours really quick here for example. And I'm pulling this thing in. Hard to do this one here. But I'm holding it kind of like this. And when I'm scoring it on the tree, I'm putting my finger in here and I'm stopping it from going very deep into that tree. I don't want it going way down into this. I mean, it probably won't hurt it to make a line through it, but just for safe practices and just, you know, really not to hurt the tree any more than you have to.
Right,
So, just kind of do that. You can just score it with your finger like that. The score is really easy.
Would you take even even though we're doing it correctly, would you take one piece from one birch and then move on to another one and take another piece?
Well, you can usually strip. The very bottom of a birch sometimes is really, you'll see a lot of this on the bottom. And as that tree matures, it gets rougher and rougher and rougher, you know, up the tree. And you're kind of, usually about here, neck high and up, just about as high as you can reach. That's a really good piece right in there, usually. You know, on a 6-8 inch piece, or 6-8 inch birch. Okay, guys ready to make some sheaths?
Yeah.
Somebody hold up my phone. All right, you'll need a couple of pieces of birch bark, so come over and get what you want, I guess. And, depending on your knife size, we'll kind of lay them out and I'll show you what you want to do.